So, DNA transcription and translation is like baking. DNA is the recipe for all of the proteins that make up an organism, but just like in baking, small changes can have a huge impact on the final product. For the purposes of this video, let's say that this strand of DNA is a recipe for some blueberry muffins. Unfortunately, the recipe is in the wrong language, so we have to put it through transcription first. There we go. Now we can figure out what amino acids or ingredients we need to use in what order to make our muffins. And awesome! Just like that, we have made some perfect blueberry muffins. Yum! But what happens if we change one thing in the recipe? These are called point mutations. The first of these is a silent mutation. This is when one change in a single base codes for the same protein, so you never really notice the difference. Given here is an example of a transversion. This means that a pyrimidine, TU or C, is changed to a purine, A or G, or vice versa. This would be like using applesauce in place of eggs, as many bakers do when making a recipe vegan. If we had a transition, which would be a switch between two bases of the same type, it would be like using liquid egg in a carton instead of a fresh egg. We would still have some very delicious blueberry muffins. Another type of mutation is a missense mutation. This occurs when a single base is changed and the protein it codes for is also changed. Given is an example of a transition. These changes can have varying levels of severity. Perhaps in this case, instead of using blueberries, we use chocolate chips. But what if instead of blueberries, we use turpentine? Would you want to eat those muffins? Here is another mutation, a nonsense. This is when a stop codon is inserted too early in the sequence. Given is another example of a transversion. In this example, maybe we misunderstood the recipe and only baked the dry ingredients, like sugar and flour. That doesn't sound very appetizing to me. We don't get blueberry muffins in this example either. How sad. Finally, we have a read-through mutation. This occurs when the stop codon is altered in a way that makes it no longer code for a stop. In this example, maybe you clicked the link to another recipe before baking your muffins and added all of the ingredients for a chocolate cake into your completed batter for blueberry muffins. You would get a lot of batter, but no blueberry muffins. Try again next time, and remember, if you want blueberry muffins, you have to follow the recipe.